What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on Electric Talks. Hopefully you guys are having a good day whenever you guys are watching this video. So this is going to be a very short video. Actually might not be all that short, but in less than 30 minutes now, I'm going to be racing Greg Doucette. I've gotten so many comments on this channel, but also on my main channel from all of you asking me to race Coach Greg. And so I've actually been wanting to do this for a while. And the race is 5.8 miles. So it's a pretty short race, which isn't really one of my strengths at all. Riding really, really hard. I'm more of an endurance person, but we'll see what happens. There's also the Vegan Cyclist is gonna be racing with us. So shout out to Tyler, super cool guy. You guys gotta go check out his YouTube channel too. Also, a few other people are gonna race too. I think there's like 30 people that are signed up for this event too. So I'm going to film this on my main camera and also give you guys a shot of the actual race itself, because I'll screen record it on the actual program so you guys can see who's winning, who's losing, which likely will be me. But like I said, I'm gonna give it my best shot because, you know, I definitely want to do the best that I possibly can. So without further ado, it's time to race.
Alrighty, folks. So I'm gonna do a voiceover for this segment of the video. You'll see right here, right off the bat, that I started this off a little too strong. I let you guys know that this was my first like legitimate Zwift race, and I've done a few races before this, like actual road races. So I know, or I should say I knew going into this that one of the biggest mistakes that I could do was to go way too hard at the beginning. And that was a mistake that I did. So it's a mistake that I have made in pretty much every single road race that I've done in my entire quote unquote cycling career. But I mean, I started this off really strong. You'll see my boy Harry up there up front with me. So I remember getting into this just really, really confident at first. Like I knew I would start off the race like at least towards the front of the pack, but to be honest, like I had no idea what really to expect because this was my first race and I was racing with people that I had never raced with before. I had no idea like what everybody's capabilities were. As far as Greg goes, Greg is an incredibly powerful cyclist. Like, and I knew going into this that I was going to have my work cut out for me as far as like who was going to place higher. I'd seen my friend John, Obese to Beast, race Greg, and I knew that Greg was going to go into this, like he's going to do really well in this race. I've seen Greg's Strava races before, or I should say I've seen Greg post his races on Strava, so I've seen his capabilities. So I knew I really had to do well in this. As it goes, like I know what my strengths are, and my strengths are mainly endurance based. So I knew going to this that I would have to hold at least 330 watts for the majority of the race. And you'll see I'm cranking out a really solid amount of watts throughout this entire race. Like I'm getting well above 340 for the majority of it. I started off at over 600 watts. And you'll see right here, like I was leading the pack for the majority of the race, which at the end of the day really doesn't matter because races are really just about strategy. So, it's kind of one of those things where racing comes down to experience, and racing in Zwift comes down to experience as well, because you have things like power-ups, you have things like drafting, you have knowing where the hills are, which you guys will see here in just a few seconds. The hill in this particular zone is there's one hill, and I wasn't prepared for that. But you'll see, I was doing fairly well for the majority of the race, but as you'll also see, like if you look down, like with me on the actual bike, like I'm really working hard. My heart rate is like it's up there. It's close to 180, and I usually don't have, like, my heart rate is usually like at my hard rides, my 2, 3, 4 hour rides, I mean I usually keep it in the 150s, 160s if I'm going really hard. So this is a very hard effort. But as you'll see right here, like I'm keeping a fairly steady pace. I remember like looking up right here and just going like, oh, like just seeing everybody basically neck and neck with me really forces you to just like have to try to strategize when you do these things. I kind of do that. I kind of, you know, like I just remember seeing everyone just in kind of panicking a little bit and going like, okay, I really need to crank out some watts here and get things going. Which unfortunately made me lose quite a bit of gas going up into the to the other part of the race. And to be honest, like I really like I was sweating so much that I couldn't even really see like where Greg was. I couldn't see where Tyler was, the Vegan Cyclist. I couldn't even see where Harry was. I can see, like, I could see that I was either like third, fourth, fifth, dropping back a little bit. And I felt like I was doing really, really well. And then this is where the hill came, and this hill destroyed me. And you'll see right here that I literally just dropped all the way back from like being in the top 5, top 6 down to 26th. And you know, that's one of the things that was my mistake. I would say that was my biggest mistake of the race, was not preparing for this hill. If I would have conserved a lot more of my power before this actual hill, I feel like I would have either been able to save like a power up for the hill, or I would have been able to just conserve my actual power for the actual hill itself, and just would have been able to not run out of gas before the big hill. And I mean, it's not really that steep of a hill either. Like looking at it, you know, from my perspective, like I'm pretty well versed in climbing. But you know, I ended up getting to the top and just seeing that I was 24th out of 36, and I'm like, it's just one of those sinking feelings where you're just like, wow, I was doing so good for the majority of the race, but then you just end up really not living up to your expectations. And I ended up just going for, honestly, from there, I was just kind of defeated. So I was just like, you know, I'm going to finish it strong and try to do the best that I can. And that's pretty much my mindset. Or I should say that was pretty much my mindset going to the end of the race. But I definitely learned a lot from this. I learned that I definitely need to, like, I want to do more Zwift races for sure in the future. I also learned, like, Greg really is an incredibly powerful rider. And, you know, it's really cool to ride with people that are, a lot of people don't like riding with people that are better than them, but I genuinely do, because it makes me a better rider. And the same goes for Tyler, the Vegan Cyclist, and, you know, and Harry Young, my friend Harry. Like, they're all just so much more experienced than me at especially at this type of stuff, that I want to do more stuff like this for sure. You'll see right here that I, you know, was just pedaling along, trying to salvage what I possibly could. But I ended up placing, I think like 23rd or 24th or something like that. I was really happy with my overall power output. I think I ended up finishing at like 340 watts for 12 minutes, which, you know, was really good for me. But like I said, I mean, it's one of those things that I use this as a learning experience. So that's pretty much how everything happened. And you'll see at the very end right here that I was feeling it. I was really, really feeling it.
That's so good. Oh, I got this joint. Oh, that's funny. Whew. Man, that was a brutal 12 minutes. So, clearly, I need to do more racing on Zwift. Man, clearly I have a lot to learn when it comes to racing on Zwift. I actually did, like, my actual power numbers were pretty solid for the entire race. I averaged, I believe, like 340 watts for the entire race. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you know, if you don't prepare for whatever it is, especially bike races, you will pay the price and you will not do as good as you want to do. So regardless though, I think this was a really good learning experience. You know, big shout out to Coach Greg, put his channel up there in case you guys don't know. Also the Vegan Cyclist actually I think was the one who won the race, so big shout out to the Vegan Cyclist. If you guys want to see another race between Coach Greg and I and have it be a longer race, let me know down below in the comments, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.